Let's start off with New Day. Have you gotten any information that they're any closer to finding the shooter?
Well, I think progress is being made. You know, the Providence police, who are leading the investigation, is getting support from our office. All our resources from the state are being applied into the investigation with the state police. And then you have the FBI involved as well. So there's a coordinated effort that I think is really important. And at least the reports I get daily reports in the morning that progress is being made, but really can't speak about that progress. But I think that people should feel pleased and have some level of comfort knowing that professionals are at it and they're digging in and they're making progress.
If I said, is it close? Couldn't you say that?
No, I think it'd be misleading in one direction or other. And I think it's been pretty clear that these investigations unfold on a path that the professionals have the experience on, and I take their lead in terms of letting us know that progress is being made.
Okay. Taking it back to the beginning, where were you, and literally what time did you first hear about the shooting?
Well, it was right around the time of that the alarms went out. EMA was involved immediately, calling our chief of staff, and that's our protocol. And the chief of staff called me and alerted to me that there was a shooting on the Brown campus. No details to really respond to, but clearly my reaction was that the unthinkable just happened.
And where were you at that point? Were you at home?
At home, yes.
You were at home. And do you remember the time of that?
I'd have to look it up, but I'll get you the time.
I appreciate it.
I think it was very quickly after the call went in.
Okay. You said EMA contacted your chief of staff after the alarms went out. That's really one of my questions, and I'll skip right to it. There was no statewide alert, as there was when the Washington Bridge was closed abruptly, close to rush hour on December 11th, 2 years ago. We all remember it. So my question is, why wasn't there a statewide alert of this mass shooting incident, and should there have been?
Well, first of all, there was not enough details on that first call. What I got was a message that there was a shooting on campus, and that, and then immediately we started to try to get information, and I was not sure, shortly after that, I was at a press conference at the Brook Street Fire Station with conversations with the mayor. So details were not readily available, as you can imagine. And then it was, at that point in time, you're getting more and more information about the issues, but you didn't want to be out there saying that, providing any misinformation, right?
Looking back on it, here we are several days after the fact. Should there have been, at some point, a statewide alert so that people weren't hearing about it, learning about it for the first time on Reddit, or through their neighbors, or the babysitter saying, I'm sheltering in place? Should there have been a statewide alert?
There was a 311 that went out with Providence. Providence is the one who is leading the effort, and so my job at this point, look, I was a former mayor, Kathy. I understand the protocol, I understand the chain of command. We will follow that chain of command. That's why we're providing all our resources to the state, whether it has to do with our trauma units or whether it has to do with our public safety, including EMA, the state police, and then working together on that. But our response was really quick. Our trauma units were on the Brown campus talking to hundreds of students within just a short period of time after the shooting.
Okay, so at this point, in terms of reviewing what happened, you're not saying you think it could have been or should have been handled differently in terms of an alert beyond the people who had signed up for the new one-year-old 311 City of Providence alert system?
We're following the Providence lead. Mm-hmm. You do that, like I said, as a former mayor. You don't want to put out any information that's not accurate. And immediately, there was a press conference called with the coverage that was statewide, nationally wide, and that information was certainly one that we were making sure that we were communicating to the greater Rhode Island community, but also understanding that our efforts were at Brown and Providence and supporting their effort right in that area.
Okay. Another question that I don't know if it's been answered. At any point have you called out the National Guard, and are they assisting the police as in any way, including being part of the police presence at schools and other locations?
Well, right now I've asked the League of Cities and Towns to coordinate through their network, the law enforcement, which is responding. I was told this morning that both Pawtucket and I believe it was Cranston that were in Providence schools. I made sure that our state police was in contact with Commissioner Infante Green, which is an important piece of this, and we have state trooper presence in multiple schools in Providence area, which is the main focus. But also we've asked, because there's other communities that have indicated that there's a certain amount of stress in the families and the students. So there's a community outreach going out beyond Providence. So I think that right now, again, the FBI is involved. Whatever resources that we can provide, we're providing. And right now, we're making sure that it's coordinated in a way that maintains a certain level of consistency, and also making sure that we're not doing things independently. I think it's really important that we're coordinating, and I'm very satisfied that the coordination is there.
National Guard again, have you called them out? And if you haven't, why not?
Well, first of all, again, we're going to coordinate it based on the ask that we get from Providence. Right now, there's a very complicated search going on. You go to the professionals that understand that search, and it's law enforcement, right? The National Guard has a role to keep us safe in defending our state, but more importantly, defending our country. So they're all engaged in the conversation. We've engaged everyone in this conversation. But right now, we're focused on making sure that the state of Rhode Island, and as governor, I'm providing all the resources that are available to the state, both on the setting up a strategy in terms of safety and trauma-related issues. And we'll follow the lead of the City of Providence, which is the police are the ones who are the central leader in the investigation.
To close the loop on that, and we can move on, the City of Providence didn't ask for additional help from the National Guard. You have not called in the National Guard, and at this point, you don't see the need to do that. Am I correct on that?
The National Guard is not law enforcement. Mm-hmm. The National Guard will be there to support if there was a reason to support the issues in terms of like community problems, whatever. We did that in COVID, right? The COVID mm-hmm. National Guard was out because there was a certain amount of reason to do that. Our focus is with the law enforcement, which has to do centrally with Providence, with the FBI and all the national resources that are being brought in, as well as our state police. And then I've talked to our chief of police executive director, Sid Waddell, to make sure that they were involved in contributing based on the ask. There has been an ask to make sure that we're supporting our schools in Providence, and I'm pleased that response has been there, a strong community response around the state to help Providence manage through this very horrific time frame.
Early on, you said President Trump had called you. Mm-hmm. Just to get a sense of when on that first day did he call you? What did he say? And have you heard from him or anybody in the Trump administration since then?
Yeah, we immediately made contact to the White House on this issue and shared my phone number with with their staff. The president did call me on I believe it was Saturday evening. Had conversations with the FBI director, Kash Patel. Have not talked to the president since then, but certainly we're in direct contact with the White House, with updating them on information that we have available. And then I've had another conversation with, second conversation with the FBI director, just confirming that they're in for the long haul, and they are, and they're being very, very helpful in terms of this investigation.
You have said, and you said it today, at each press conference, making state resources available. Summing it up, what are the resources the state can provide and is providing?
So it's the strength of our state police, which is nationally known as being a really highly professional law enforcement agency. Working with the Colonel Weaver, making sure he's connected in with Colonel Perez in Providence. That's happening on a daily basis, on hour-to-hour basis. Also activating, as we did in the EMA with the emergency management. Our health department has been incredibly responsive. I've engaged both on the education piece. The Commissioner of Higher Ed, Shannon Gilkey, is working, and we've already had a meeting of all the presidents in the universities in the state, talking about upgrading or enhancing safety on the campus as they see is needed. Doing the same thing with our behavioral health director, Rick LeClaire, who's has coordinated all the different trauma agencies that are involved with the outreach to families, making sure families and their children get the counseling that they may need. And as a parent, I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent. This is something that is hard to deal with, right? Knowing that families have lost a child, right? And then you have these students that, you know, this act by this shooter is really changing the lives of hundreds and hundreds of students, hundreds of families. So we're responding in a way where we're making sure that I'm present in the community. I've been at services that are healing right on the Bound campus. I've been at community meetings in Providence, in the park in Providence. Again, community healing, and Director LeClaire was with me. So we're providing the support that we can provide, and you can see the EMA, our health department, our state police, and also a governor who understands that this unthinkable thing happened. It's a nightmare for families. It's a shocking experience for young people, and we need to respond in a way where we're dealing with the issues immediately, the immediate issues, and then also, if there are long-term issues, we make sure that our presence as a state is supporting those families who need the help.
When you mentioned meeting with the college presidents, have you gotten any feedback on that yet, on what we need to do as a state to make sure something like this can't happen, is less likely to happen, and the buildings are safe?
The feedback was, first of all, immediately, just like I organized all the college presidents in COVID, right, and had the meeting there and got everybody to buy in on the vaccinations. There was an immediate response from the relationship that I've been able to develop with our presidents of the universities, and they have committed to continue to work as a core group, and then they'll share what if anything that they're looking at to enhance the safety if necessary. They'll share it with us, and they'll also share with us the protocols that they have in place. So it's a first step into making sure that We have leadership at the state level that I asked Shannon Gilkey to provide, and he has provided that. And now we'll have ongoing meetings with the college presidents at that level, and then we'll certainly shift into the individuals on campuses that are responsible for the safety. But we're also bringing in, like I said, Director Leclerc, his team, and the director has been on those calls with the college presidents, and then also organizing the trauma units that are out there prepared. Hundreds of people right now that are prepared to help anyone who is having a problem with the emotionally with this this attack on our state, on Brown University. So yeah, the meetings with the presidents have gone very strongly, but I do have a very strong and personal relationship with all the presidents carrying over from COVID and beyond.
When you mentioned trauma centers, just where would somebody who wanted to find out where's the closest trauma center, where can I go? Is that on a website someplace?
Yes, and 988 is the number that people would call that could centralize the information, and they're prepared to do that. Hope Street with Family Services of Rhode Island, I have visited there, talked to the counselors, got a sense on what the activity level has been, and it's active, but they're able to handle the the amount of responses. And then you have areas where we've opened up in not anticipation of it, but certainly it helps with all our health centers that are opened up in the last year, eight health centers around the state. Our Department of Health is making sure that those health centers which are open are available to work with families or young people that are being impacted in any way on this.
Governor, have you talked to any of the people who were shot in the hospital or to their families directly?
No, I think we're respecting, look, if I'm invited, I've offered to meet with the young people. I've been offered to help there. I expect that I'll be communicating with them at the right moment in time, but this is a moment where you don't invite yourself in, you get invited. But I've met with the President Paxton on campus just this week and talked about these issues, and I'll be communicating with a note of sympathy and support to all the young people that are recovering, and will continue to be in contact with the Brown University, which is the most impacted community, and then the immediate area around it. So I think you need to be very careful. We just had two young people that are now in their hometowns, and those hometowns are going to be experiencing significant grief. So we have to kind of respect the families, and I do respect the families. So at the right moment in time, and we're with President Paxton's communication is that she is very sensitive to all these issues, but also we want to make sure that the time frame between now the students have left campus, they'll be coming back to campus, and the message that I asked her, what do you want me to say, and just tell the families that their students are welcome back, and that we're prepared to provide them with the safety that the families need, and the services that may be needed in terms of the issues on trauma.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Governor.
All right, thank you.